what's up? It's Annika, and in this video I'll be getting a little bit more deep, I guess, than my other videos. I normally post a lot of like happy-go-lucky, creating a happy, financially free life, so be sure to subscribe for that. But today I want to talk about anxiety. So I've mentioned this before in a bunch of my other YouTube videos, and like I say it on my Instagram story all the time, so if you follow me at Annika's Paintbrush, then you've probably seen it a few times. And like I'm always resharing kind of like anxiety, well-being posts that I see from other people that are really helpful, so always doing that. I kind of haven't really talked about it in depth, and I feel like a lot of people are probably struggling with this, especially right now. And I personally haven't seen too many videos of people I know and people that I look up to post about it really, so I thought I would be the one to do it. So yeah. So if you're like me, you probably didn't know you had anxiety for a long time, because growing up I just thought everyone got super anxious or nervous, or maybe had intrusive thoughts, or different things would kind of make your heart race and you don't know why, or different things would make you upset and you don't know why. Like I thought that was everyone. I knew that I've always been this way with interviews, especially. Like I get terrible interview anxiety. I hate being put on the spot. I hate not being able to prepare a response or prepare almost like a speech. Put me on stage and give me a microphone in front of a huge audience, no problem. I can give a speech, no issues. But talk with me one-on-one, asking me very personal questions, putting me on the spot, like, no. Hate that, not a fan, 0 out of 10. So I knew that was always an issue for me. Like after interviews for jobs and things, when I actually started interviewing more in college, I would come back to like my dorm or whatever after my interview and just shake uncontrollably and probably like start crying, just because that was just so much exertion for me and so much uncomfiness that I really hated. And I've always gotten very, very stressed and anxious for every interview I do. Even still, like when I have to host a meeting at work and things like that. Like I'm a little bit better at it now, but that kind of stuff gives me anxiety. I didn't even recognize a lot of my issues that had to do with anxiety until probably this year. So about 2 years ago, I had my first actual panic attack. Like I had never had a panic attack before in my life. I had had anxious feelings and like racing heartbeat and other symptoms of an anxiety attack, like minimal and not super noticeable, and I couldn't even really pinpoint them. But 2 years ago, I had a lot of health issues happening. It was right when I moved to Orlando actually for my Disney college program, and the day after I got there I had a really severe like colon infection. I had like a stomach infection, I had a UTI, like I had just had all this crap going on, and I wasn't eating for a solid month because I just couldn't digest anything. And I had cut off of caffeine cold turkey, and mind you, I had just come from like working as a barista at Starbucks, and I was drinking coffee like 2 to 3 times a day. I just graduated college, like I was a computer science major, like high stress, high caffeine all the time. And then to cut it cold turkey, I went through some serious withdrawals. So all of that combined together was just a lot on my body, and I was starting a new job. I was actually working merchandise in Tomorrowland at Magic Kingdom. Hi, editing Annika here. Literally, I think a couple weeks before my actual panic attack, when I just started the job and I was still in training for merchandise, they like train you to count back money a certain way. It's like it did not comprehend, it just did not compute. And I posted this on my story that like I self-diagnosed myself with dyscalculia, which is basically like kind of like the dyslexic version of numbers. So I just cannot do simple arithmetic. Like put me in front of some multivariable calculus, like perfect, A plus. But ask me to add like 7 plus 9, I literally have to think about it. I'm like, like I cannot do simple arithmetic. Like it just does not compute.
But they were training us to count back money, this, like, you have to count up, so you count the 25 and then the 2, and then it just was not working for me, and I remember taking the bus, because I didn't have a car, but taking the bus back to my CP housing and crying on the bus, crying because I could not count. Because I couldn't count money the way that, like, they train, like, I have my own way of, like, counting bills to, like, make sure that, like, I reach the right number, and it was just complete opposite of what they were teaching us, and it was mortifying, and it just piqued my anxiety, which just didn't help the scenario at all. But, back to you.
So it was kind of high stress. I don't know anyone there, and new job, new environment, all of these things happening on the inside. Like, that was really, really rough time for me, and probably like one of the worst moments in my life. But I mean, if that's the worst that I've ever gone through, then I'd say I'm doing pretty good. But actually, my first panic attack came into play, I think, after not drinking coffee for weeks and weeks. I think I had a coffee. I was slowly trying to integrate it back into my system. I'd had a coffee that day. I went to go work in Magic Kingdom, showed up for my shift. I was not feeling well. I knew inside, like, something's happening, and it's like the beginning of an anxiety or panic attack. Like, it's the same feeling that I've felt later on, and now I can pinpoint exactly what that feeling is. But that feeling was starting to take on, and I went to go work my shift. I told my managers, I don't feel good. Send me home, please. And I think I'd only been there like an hour or something, and they were like, no, you have to make it to whatever timing point or whatever the limit was. I don't know, like I couldn't leave. And so they sent me to backstage to do things just like slowly and take it easy and like stock some shelves or something simple. And more as time went on, it was just like, no, something's wrong, and I can feel myself, I don't know, tightening up and panicking almost, like to the point. So I went to kind of like our break room area, and we had like these concrete stairs where I could just like sit down. So I sat down for a second. My great coworker and friend, she grabbed me like a popsicle, and like I held it on my face, and I was kind of starting to slowly build up like, okay, I don't think I can breathe. And it snowballed into a horrible panic attack. And I tried to get up, and my manager was trying to ask me like, hey, are you okay? Do you need me to grab medics? Like, what can we do here? And I had no idea what was wrong. All I knew was that I was having trouble breathing, and I was starting to lose feeling in my hands, because when you start like huffing and puffing and like like panicking, the oxygen doesn't get all the way to like your extremities. So I started losing feeling in my hands, and I didn't know that was a thing. So I was freaking out, thinking that I was dying because I couldn't feel my body now, and something was wrong internally. Like, I just knew something was wrong. So I tried to get up, I think, and then I ended up collapsing on the staircase. But my dear friend caught me, thankfully, because probably could have really hurt myself on the stairs. But I laid on the ground, and I was just hysterically crying, hysterically huffing and puffing, thinking I was dying. Just full on extreme severe panic attack of just like like just going crazy. And my manager was like, I'm getting the medics right now, and like ran. And then before I knew it, like these medics were here to like help me, and I was just like, huh? Like, what? I don't know what's happening. And that's when they explained to me like I needed to calm down and take deep breaths, because I couldn't feel my hands because there wasn't oxygen flowing to them. So definitely took some deep breaths, and I kind of calmed down. But on the inside, I still felt shaky. And I mean, if you're someone who goes through anxiety and panic attacks, like, you know, that feeling doesn't go away right away. And there's like a lingering sensation of I don't have control. So I was sitting there with the medics. They were saying, girl, nothing wrong with you. You just had a panic attack. Chill out. And they asked me, do you want to go to the hospital? And I was like, I mean, I don't know. I guess if you're telling me that nothing's actually wrong with me, like, I guess not, but maybe I should just in case. Listen to your body, folks. I went to the hospital. They took some scans. They found a couple of my infections that I listed out, and they also found a blood clot going into my liver. So had I not had that panic attack that day, and had my body not told me, yo, go do something about this, girl, then that blood clot could have either burst right where it was or found its way to my heart and exploded, and I could have died and not known why. So pretty good reason to panic, I would say. Basically my body was like trying to tell me like something is wrong. So that served a very purposeful attack, I guess. Listen to your body. But I also know of certain friends that have talked about anxiety that they've experienced where they've had panic attacks like I had, and they go to the hospital and they're like, what's wrong with me? And nothing was wrong with them. It was just a panic attack. So I mean, better safe than sorry, but as long as you can kind of pinpoint the signs, pinpoint the emotions, and kind of differentiate between the feelings you feel, then that can work in your favor and I guess help you differentiate between a I need help moment or I just need to breathe through this moment.
Also, don't just take my advice, only take actual advice from licensed healthcare professionals. And if you're seeing a therapist or psychiatrist, I think the right term is, I don't know. I need to look into that. But yeah, don't just take what I say for face value and try and apply it to yourself. Like, I am in no way educated enough on this matter. I just wanted to talk about my personal experience. And also, don't let anyone like invalidate your feelings, because what you're feeling is valid and you're not alone in that. And that's something I have to remind myself of all the time.
I have only had about three or four different separate kind of anxiety attacks since then. One was when I was actually still on my blood thinner medication for my blood clot, and I think I had mixed it with like an alcoholic beverage or something, like not a lot, but I mean, I did that to myself and I had like a mini panic attack, but it wasn't anything major, but it was kind of scary just because like I didn't really know what to do about it. And then earlier this year, beginning of quarantine, I think is when a lot of us were going through some difficult mental health times, and depression was setting in, my anxiety was kind of peaking, and I actually spoke to a new doctor and she gave me some anxiety medication which would help, but sometimes I wouldn't take it all the time. It's like an as needed thing, and I'd be in some places where like I forgot to bring it. Like I was going to a doctor's appointment and all of a sudden out of nowhere I was just sitting in the waiting room, not thinking about anything, not even really like stressed about things, just sitting there, and then I could feel myself like slowly starting to panic over nothing. So obviously there's probably some like underlying stress and different kind of factors that play into that, but I was in a very public place and had to literally just kind of hold it in and just breathe. So I opened up about this one in like one of my other vlogs, how when I was doing my road trip with my dad, we were in the state of Oregon, we were probably like an hour away from my house, and I was driving, and out of nowhere got a really, really bad anxiety attack, and I started like convulsing in my seat and like had to stop the car, and just like, that was really scary. And I had to like sit down and just like, I don't know, freak out for seemingly no reason for like 30 minutes before we could keep going. I don't know, I just wanted to make this video to kind of like open up about that, and if you're someone who also struggles with severe anxiety or panic attacks and, I don't know, chronic stress, then know that you're not alone. And I also wanted to kind of open the floor up to more of like a discussion with anyone who watches this video, to talk about different things that might have helped you, different things that did not help you, and things like that, so that we can kind of work through this together and help each other out. I definitely also want to open up about different factors that could be causing it, with especially dealing with social media, and I'm going to do a whole separate video on that, of like Instagram culture and comparing culture and stuff like that. So I think I'm gonna do that one probably after this one. So make sure you're subscribed to my channel to check that out. But I really just wanted to kind of talk about it, and I feel that way with a lot of the topics that I bring on my channel, with things like money, finances, debt, and opening up about my personal journey with that. So really, I just kind of wanted to get that off my chest. I also want to add different things that have kind of helped me overcome a lot of my anxious feelings before they turn into a full-on attack. One of the things that really helps me is honestly writing down my thoughts and even just doodling. So I actually have a bullet journal, and then this was like $6 off of Amazon or something, and I love just coloring, like literally just coloring. Like, get yourself a coloring book, a word search book, a plain journal where you can literally just doodle whatever you want. That helps me so much, and it's actually one of the reasons why I started my Instagram page, Annika's Paintbrush, which is Disney lifestyle focused, but I do a lot of fun edits to my photo, and that's very relaxing for me. And until I could actually save up and buy my iPad and get Procreate, like, that is so soothing to me. And I actually downloaded the app GoodNotes on my iPad, and it has like a laser pointer feature where you can just like literally scribble and it disappears after a second. So sometimes when I'm feeling super anxious, I'll just like, and then it just disappears, and then I'll just, and it's just so calming and soothing, and it makes me relax and kind of distract myself from any of those feelings and just kind of release it, and breathing. So just kind of wanted to throw that in there. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.